like to call the City Council meeting of Monday, August 1st, 2022 to order. Can I please ask the clerk to call the roll?
Yes. Mayor Flores is absent tonight. Deputy Mayor Tharp?
Present.
And Councilmember Noble?
Here.
Councilmember Dugo?
Here.
And Councilmember Diaz?
Here.
And Councilmember Bousquet?
Present.
And Deputy Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Could I ask everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which stands
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. And going forward, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Approval by Mr. Noble, second by Councilmember Bousquet. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Agenda approved. Comments from the public for agenda items only. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward. State your name and address for the record. All right. Seeing none. Special business. This evening we've got a proclamation for Lighted Up Green. Can I ask the city clerk to please read the proclamation?
Proclamation of the City Council of the City of Green Acres, Florida, proclaiming August 2022 as Lighted Up Green for Muscular Dystrophy Month. Muscular dystrophy is not a single disease or disorder that affects everyone the same way, but an umbrella term covering more than 52 different types of muscular and neuromuscular diseases. All muscular dystrophies results in progressive muscle weakness, from mild muscle weakness to complete paralysis of all voluntary muscles, including those used for breathing and or swallowing. Therefore, the City of Green Acres do hereby proclaim August 2022 as the Lighted Up Green for Muscular Dystrophy Month. Thank you.
And as always, we have Miss Nadine Kirby, Green Acres resident, to accept the proclamation. Yes. Oh, yeah, oh, absolutely.
You're welcome.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. A special thank you to Andrea for remembering. And since I took a step back this year, this is one of the only proclamations I'm going to get this year for muscular dystrophy awareness. Some of you that are here don't know, my son is now 29. My son was diagnosed at 3.5 years old with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, which is one of 52 neuromuscular diseases. Anyway, I just wanted to thank the whole city council, everybody, the mayor. This is so nice. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Nadine, I know the mayor wishes he were here to say thank you every year from the bottom of our hearts for everything you do. Moving on, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Diaz, second by Mr. Noble. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Aye. All opposed, none. Regular agenda. Public hearing ordinance 2022-11 on second reading. Can I ask the city clerk to read the ordinance?
Ordinance 2022-11, second reading, amending Chapter 12, Subdivisions and Land Development Regulations, Article 2, Plats, Division 1, generally, and Division 2, application procedure to create a two-step plat approval process with requirements, amending Chapter 16, Zoning Regulations, Article 2, Administration Division 1, General Section 16-33, Public Hearing, Table 16-33 to reflect the new plat process, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, severability, inclusion in code, and an effective date.
Thank you. And we have Ms. Karen Gardner-Young presenting.
Good evening. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners. As indicated, this is second reading of the ordinance in regards to plats. It does create, as indicated, a two-step process. So it's a preliminary plat first, which the council would get to approve, and then it would be a final plat, which would be for staff administratively to review, assuming that there's no major changes between what was approved by the council during the preliminary plat process to the final plat process. I do have my PowerPoint presentation to present to you tonight if you'd like. This was presented to the Planning Board of Adjustments, and they voted by 4-0 to unanimously approve it with no comments or changes. The City Council heard this on July 18th, also unanimously approved it. There are no changes from first to second reading. I ask that everything in the file be included as part of the public record, and I'm here to answer any questions or concerns you may have, as well as if you'd like an actual presentation.
No questions.
Any comments or questions from the council?
I don't think a presentation is necessary for me. I can't speak for everybody.
All right. Hearing none, I'd like to open this meeting now to the public. Anyone wishing to speak in favor or in opposition of Ordinance 2022-11, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. All right, seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve ordinance number 2022-11 on second reading.
Second.
I have approval by Councilmember Bousquet, second by Councilmember Noble. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, that motion carries 4-0 or 5-0. Sorry, I can't count. All right. Public hearing, ordinance 2022-17. Can I ask the city clerk to please read the ordinance?
Ordinance 2022-17, second reading, amending Chapter 11, Streets, Sidewalks, and Other Public Places, Article 1 in general, by adding Section 11-6, right-of-way permits, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, severability, inclusion in the code, and an effective date.
And we have Ms. Karen Gardner-Young presenting again.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Again, this is second reading of an ordinance. We talked about this last time, that this is a right-of-way permit process. We're already doing the process. It's just to make it more clear. The intent of most of the ordinances coming before you is to make it more readable, more friendly. This was also presented to the Planning Board of Adjustments, and it was recommended unanimously for approval 4-0. This was also presented to the City Council on July 18th. It was unanimously approved 4-0. There's no changes from first reading to second reading. I am prepared to proceed with a presentation as I did last time if there's any desire. If not, I would ask that this be adopted and include all items as part of the public record, and I'm here to answer any questions or comments you may have.
Any questions or comments from the council?
No question.
All right, seeing none, I'd like to open the public hearing for ordinance 2022-17. Anyone wishing to speak in favor or in opposition, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Do I have a motion to...
I move that we approve ordinance 2022-17 on the second reading.
Go ahead.
Second, sorry.
I've got a motion to approve by Councilmember Noble, second by Councilmember Bousquet. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion carries 5-0. Moving on to ordinance 2022-19. Can I ask the city clerk to please read the ordinance?
Ordinance 2022-19, first reading, amending Chapter 12, Subdivisions and Land Development Regulations, Article 1 in general, by adding Section 12-12, engineering permits, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, severability, inclusion in code, and an effective date.
And Ms. Karen Gardner-Young once again presenting.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, council members. This is the first reading on an engineering permit zoning text amendment. It's very similar. It goes hand in hand with the right-of-way permit process that you already approved. But where the right-of-way permit addresses all the activities within the right-of-way that I showed you, this is actually activity that occurs on individual property typically. Okay, so the first item I want to go through is, what do we have to cover tonight? So what is an engineering permit? Why are engineering permits necessary? And what is the proposed process? As with the right-of-way permit, this is already being reviewed within staff. We're just doing it through the regular building permit process. So again, this is an attempt in order to clarify, make it more user-friendly, and make it easier for someone to be able to come in and obtain such a permit. So what is an engineering permit? A permit will typically cover the following type of work: paving, striping, seal coating, so we're talking parking lots, dredging, filling in of land, so if you have a vacant land and you want to develop it with a project or with a house, lot clearing, again, you want to be able to develop on that particular parcel, drainage, excavation, or utility work. And as stated, this is outside of the right-of-way. Why are engineering permits necessary? Very similar to the reasons for the right-of-way permit. We want to ensure that work is done correctly by allowing city inspections. We want to ensure that the work will be done and performed in compliance with permits. We want to prevent illicit discharges, and we want to make sure that we require safety protocols. So the recommending bodies already took a look. The permit process is very similar. It comes into the building department, then it will get transferred over to the planning department, where this contract city engineer will take a look at the permits based upon our code. As with every permit, we will provide comments if it is not deemed sufficient, and once it is deemed sufficient, the permit application will actually be approved. This has been presented to the Development Review Committee, the DRC, and our contract city engineer has reviewed the text amendment. They did that on June 19th, 2022. Any concerns have been addressed in the staff report. The Planning Board of Adjustments on July 14th made a recommendation of approval upon a unanimous vote of 5-0. And we are seeking approval of ZTA 22-15 through the Ordinance 2022-19, and this is on first reading. If anybody has any questions or concerns, I'm here to answer them, and I ask that anything in the file be included as part of the record.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from council? Ms. Diaz? Oh, no, Councilmember Diaz?
Hi. Is this mostly for commercial properties, or is this going to affect residential properties as well?
It potentially could. I think more common it would be on commercial properties, but if you have a single-family house, for example, and you're clearing the lot to build it, it would apply to that as well.
Okay. And so if, but like if there's just like, let's say a single-family home wants to redo a driveway that would have paving on it, would this fall into place?
No, that would go under the building permit, just like with the right-of-way. You don't need two permits. We don't want to make it more confusing.
Okay, and that's what I wanted to just make sure that it's not just another step that would confuse the end consumer.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Mr. Noble?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Ordinance 2022-19 on first reading.
I've got a approval by Ms. Noble. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bousquet. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. Next item is Ordinance 2022-24, first reading. Can I ask the City Clerk to please read the ordinance?
Ordinance 2022-24, first reading, amending Chapter 10, Personnel, Article 10, in general, to create a new Section 10-1 to be entitled State and National Criminal History Checks for certain municipal employees, to codify requirements for criminal history records checks for personnel in the Department of Fire Rescue, which the governing body of the municipality finds are critical to security and safety, to codify the requirement for criminal history records checks for certain municipal employees and appointees, which the City Council of Green Acres, Florida finds is critical to security or safety, providing for severability, codification, repeal of conflicting ordinances, and an effective date.
All right, and this evening we've got our Director of Human Resources, Suzanne Skidmore, presenting.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, City Council, Suzanne Skidmore, Director of Human Resources and Risk Management. The City of Green Acres currently conducts such background checks for firefighter personnel through the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, which is also called FDLE, the Civil Workflow Control System, in which enables the city to conduct the fingerprints based on national criminal history record checks under the authority of Florida State Statute 633.412. The Federal Bureau of Investigations, the FBI, has advised FDLE that the city will no longer be authorized to submit applicants under the authority of the Florida State Statute 633.412, effective May 1st of 2023. The city desires to continue its current level of background screening for its personnel of the Department of Fire Rescue. The only change is that the city will no longer be able to perform the fire rescue checks using the originating agency identification. It's called ORI. A separate ORI number will need to be established. We recommend that approval of Ordinance 2022-24 on first reading.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the council?
Yes.
Ms. Buscay.
What employees are excluded from background checks of that sort?
For this, what we're doing is only for any employee in fire rescue personnel. That is the only thing this will go under.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Councilmember Diaz.
If I'm understanding from the backup that was presented too, this is basically just replacing one vendor with another.
This is just really changing a number.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other comments or questions? All right. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve. Oh, go ahead.
Motion approved by Councilmember Dugo.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Diaz. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right, moving along. This evening we have no discussion items. Comments from the public on non-agenda items. Anyone wishing to speak on any non-agenda item, please come forward. State your name and address for the record. All right, seeing none, moving on to the city manager's report.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. On the 29th, this past Friday, the city had our backpack event, over $17,000 in supplies. $9,000 of that was in sponsorship and in kind, and 1,100 backpacks were distributed. So that was a really successful event. Just wanted to let everyone know as well, I know some of you have been over to the community center, Allie, and with her lemonade stand, her fundraiser collecting money for backpacks and supplies. That giveaway is going to be on August the 6th from 10 to 2 at the community center. There will be some giveaways. There will also, for the first 15 children that are uninsured, they are going to be doing physicals. So there are some other things that are going on with that event, but I just wanted to let everybody know on August the 6th, 2022 from 10 to 2, she will be giving out her backpacks. And one more thing. Just that our August community conversation, we're starting them back up again. This one is related to the opioid epidemic awareness on the 31st of August from 6:30 to 8 at the community center. That's all I have.
All right. City Attorney's report?
No report.
No report. Mayor and council reports. We're going to start remotely. Ms. Dugo, any report?
I have nothing, thank you.
And since I have nobody to the right, I'll start all the way down. Councilmember Busquet.
I have nothing, thank you.
Councilmember Diaz.
Just a quick thank you to Ms. Thompson and her team, as well as her new events manager who really jumped in with that giveaway. Thank you to PBSO and Green Acres Fire for also being there and assisting.
All right. Councilmember Noble.
No report.
I have no report this evening. I'd like to mark that 6:18. I think I beat the mayor's record.
Motion to
I got a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Meeting adjourned.